I want to bring in Sheriff Thad Cleveland to discuss this from Terrell County, Texas. Sheriff Thad, it's great to have you on the show as a police officer, as law enforcement down in Texas. You certainly have gotten a large brunt of this border crisis that this administration, hands down, as much as they try to deny it, are responsible for. What do you make of these developments, of the GOP cracking down, it would seem, on this border issue?
You know, it's long overdue. And not only am I currently the sheriff of Terrell County, I spent 26 years in the U.S. Border Patrol. I spent the last 11 years here in Terrell County as the patrol agent in charge. This is where I grew up, where I graduated high school, and to be able to come back and serve in this capacity, you know, it is very important to me. And I can tell you, I can look at the citizens of this county, the citizens of Texas, and the citizens of the United States of America, and tell them I'm doing everything I can to keep my community safe. But with that, you know, at the beginning of the show, you mentioned Secretary Mayorkas. I don't see how he can look at the American public and tell them he's doing everything he can do.
Yeah, well, and Democrats, when it comes to this border crisis, the border crisis hearing, rather, Democrats have used quite the strange rhetoric and strange language to describe this upcoming hearing on the border crisis. Specifically, Jerry Nadler and Ted Lieu. I want to play a clip of them reacting to this border hearing and what they're saying with it. I really think it's a slap in the face to people like you, Sheriff, and to citizens down in Texas. Let's play a clip.
This hearing is titled Biden's Border Crisis. That is completely wrong. It is not Biden's border crisis. This has been a crisis for over half a century, from Nixon and every American president after him. They have not addressed this issue.
The first hearing will showcase the racist tendencies of the extreme MAGA Republican wing of the party that seeks to close the border to refugees from places like Cuba and Venezuela. It almost makes me miss their usual obsession with conspiracy theories and the FBI.
Okay, so you have Jerry Nadler saying that this is going to expose the racism and the white supremacy within the Republican Party, and Ted Lieu's response is, this is not Biden's border crisis. This has happened in every administration. No, it hasn't, has it, Sheriff? When you look at the numbers, Biden's numbers are incomparable to any other president in American history.
And you're exactly right. And, you know, I was very disappointed to hear Mr. Nadler's comments. You know, these are the people we put in office, and if they're going to come out, you know, slandering each other, making a political point, we got to get beyond that. We have to get to border security, and we have to separate border security from immigration reform. Those are two separate topics. Moving on to Mr. Lieu's comments. No, this is unlike ever before. And again, I served 26 years with the Border Patrol, and under the Trump administration, we had the lowest numbers ever. And he put some policies in place that really made sense, and it controlled the border. Can we do better? Yes. But what's going on now and what's happening in my community is a reflection of what's going on across the entire southwest border due to this presidential administration's lack of policy. He has no policy whatsoever.
Now, El Paso County Judge Ricardo Samaniego is a Democrat who testified in this hearing, and he said this is El Paso County, one of the hotbeds of illegal immigration, of record border crossings. His quote, "There is no invasion of migrants in our community, nor are there hordes of undocumented immigrants committing crimes against citizens or causing havoc in our community." What planet does this judge Ricardo Samaniego live on? He's in El Paso. He sees these migrants. He's lying, in other words, isn't he?
Yes, and I was made aware of his comments yesterday. I'll tell you what, I've got a lot of friends who work in the U.S. Border Patrol out in El Paso. Over 2,000 agents work out in El Paso. I've got family that live in El Paso, and you know, talk to them. They'll tell you something completely different. I don't know where he came up with those comments. And let me add something else. The only reason he spoke yesterday was because my county judge, Dale Lynn Carruthers, she got caught in the ice storm. She couldn't fly out of Odessa, Texas, and couldn't be there to testify. She would have had a completely different story. And again, to to meet your point, he could be further from the truth.
Yeah, 200,000, 250,000 illegal immigrants coming across the border every month. That's hardly no migrants coming across the southern border. The whole thing's absurd. Sheriff Thad, we really appreciate you coming on the show today, breaking all this down. Thank you for the work that you do to try to keep Texans safe.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless.